do. Done. Hey Jet. Yeah, this won't take too long because it's just one character. Decided to get some rest before I streamed. Hello, Pablo. Hope everyone's having a good night or day, whatever your timeline is or time frame is. Time is for chumps. I wish. Even though technically time is whatever for me, it still matters in terms of like having to rest and other things. It's one of the many hindrances that I'm annoyed of. It's like, oh great, I gotta rest. Oh great, I gotta eat. All that nonsense. And then, you know, life happens, so gotta put the brakes on things to attend to that. Yeah, Becky wouldn't give a shit about the Olympics. She'd be like, yeah, and? Oh, I can find inspiration. That's not hard. And then I have that weird thing where it's like, if I don't draw for long periods of time, that's when my dreams start getting trippy. It's like an outlet at this point. It's like, I gotta draw or else the nightmares come back harder, right? But yeah. I mean, granted, some of my characters came from my dreams, so can't complain. Couldn't be any worse than your high dream? That depends on what your high dream was. And again, this is me not being high, or whatever high dream means, so you gotta take that into consideration. This is just a thing that happens. Disturbing, very just again, depends on what you mean by disturbing, because my dreams have shown me some shit, so at this point we're having a dream off here. Oh yeah, maybe. Crystal being in the city probably hits her differently. I mean, again, that's the same thing for me, Frost, so you'd have to you'd have to tell me in like a private Discord message or something on what it is, or one of the times you're talking about, and I'd be like, either that's tame to me, or it's like, oh yeah, okay, that's new. Mine is just like, mine would just be situations that I'm like, why would I dream this? In what way? In what reason would I need to dream this? I smell chunky tongues. But yeah, this is one of those situations where I'm just like, yeah, did I need to dream that? No, but you made me dream it anyway. Thank you, brain, or whatever cosmic being decides this is how I sleep now. Since this only happens if I don't draw for an extreme amount of time. Well, not an extreme, it's like a day, or like maybe like a day or two, and then it starts getting weird. It's like, that's okay, I didn't need to sleep. Oh, we were talking about chunk or weight gain stuff a moment ago, and then we started talking about dreams. So you weren't wrong. But yeah, again, for me, I'm just like, yeah, because I've had moments where I'm just like, here's a disturbing dream, and I just wake up going like, okay, that's cool. I didn't feel like sleeping. Fuck that. I'm just gonna get up and draw. That seems to be the thing to do. And then when I do draw, it's like I either don't dream anything, or the dreams are just super tame. I just know that at the end, I stared into the growing void. Also, fuck Twitch stream ads. Yeah. Hello, Shadow. Like, yeah, like if you can't describe it, then that's fine. Like, don't worry about it. But it's like, if you were able to, I'd be like, eh. Like, this happened years ago. I think I was still in was I still in high school when I dreamt this? Probably. I remember dreaming of just a genocide. Don't know why. Never, like, I think it was before I was even like on the internet too much. So I don't even know why that would come up. And I was just like, okay, yeah, you know what? Let's just not sleep tonight, or just get up and do something. Because I'm like, fuck that. Just straight up genocide. Just watch a whole bunch of people just get murdered in various ways. And I was just like, yeah, I don't know why I would dream that, but here we are. And then other times I would just have, you know, basic dreams that don't really go anywhere. It's like, it would just be like me observing somebody else in like some either alternate timeline or just like in another setting, and it'd just be pretty standard. Maybe something a little odd would come up and like nothing really to note. And then other times I'd be like, you know what? I just feel like werewolves now. So it's like, oh, okay, werewolves are happening. And the werewolves are like, that's like a tame thing, and then like the other stuff would just become like nightmarish, like just like John Carpenter's The Thing type of nightmarish. And then I have those moments where it's like, okay, here's some random characters for me to draw. I'm like, okay, cool, that's neat. Got a character out of it. And that's only happened 3 times? Nah, probably a few more than that. Because some of them I have written down, I just hadn't gotten around to drawing them. But 3 of them at least have been drawn. And then only once did an existing character show up in a dream, and that was Essence. And I don't know why. She was like being chased by the mob, and she's like running through like an apartment building, and then it pretty much ends with her like jumping through a very narrow window, and it was like just big enough for her to slip through with her curves. And then I woke up from that. That was when I moved out. That was when I moved out and got my first job. So that was that was been over a decade ago at this point. So yeah, that was like the only time any of my existing characters showed up in a dream. So don't know what the hell that was about. But other than that, nope. It's like, no, you're gonna experience things if you don't draw. I'm like, oh, okay. This is how this works. Okay, I think we're good on this phase. rev'kah. Would Becky be in hell if she time traveled back into the 1920s for being the Prohibition period where alcohol was a legal thing? I mean, alcohol would probably be the last thing she'd be worried about at that point in time, because she'd be a walking creature, and that would probably freak the fuck out of people. Because like the way her world works is that it originally took place in ours, like our version of history, but then things got warped and altered. So assuming her time traveling back in time would mean going back to the original timeline, then she would have way more issues to worry about than alcohol. Because people already do stupid shit for like minimal things, even things that can be explained, and people lose their shit. So you can only imagine what would happen if she showed up. But assuming she didn't have to worry about that, she'd think it's bullshit if alcohol was banned. And of course would do whatever it took to find people selling the shit. The real enemy, man. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's already common in most stories anyway. We kind of come to that conclusion. But unfortunately, the other conclusion is that we'll never learn. And so eventually we'll just destroy ourselves. So might as well ride this out until that happens, right? Because people are already being stupid. Like there was already a situation. I forget the details, but there was already a situation where I think it had to do with a hoax or something like that. But like, I think it was Russia, where it was like a Russian sub had like nukes or something like that, and something happened where basically they were almost tricked into basically sending out a nuke, and it required 3 people to turn the keys simultaneously in order to send it off. And 2 out of the 3 were willing to do it, but the third guy was like, hold on. And then luckily they figured out that it was all bullshit. So if it hadn't been for that one guy, we all would have been screwed heavily. I forget when this took place. I'll have to look it up at some point. But yeah, that was a thing that happened. So I'll have to remember what that guy's name is, because big props to him. Like, yeah, you know what? We'd probably be dead or not here. Ain't that something? That our existence heavily depended on one person. So yeah. That's why when people freak the fuck out over something so minimal and stupid, I just shake my head going like, look, you guys are gonna get us killed for something really dumb. It's like if aliens ever officially showed up, like, I'm just saying, like, actually here, just big old ship and everything, you know you're gonna have that one person be stupid and, like, shoot them or something, or do something really heinous to one of them. And then we're just all fucked after that point. There's always one really stupid person. Just like what happened to my mailing service years ago, where it's like, oh, here's a mailbox where you can put your mail into, like, directly to the post office at any point in the day. And then eventually, somebody decided to do something stupid with the box, and now we don't have that box anymore, and it really sucks because then you gotta go into the actual office when it opens. It's like, damn, we had 24-hour service and now we don't because of one person or persons. So yeah, there's always gonna be some dumbass that does something stupid. Same thing went for AI art. It's like, oh, I'm gonna watch this person stream, take a screenshot of what they're drawing, put that into AI, and then post it before the artist is even done with their artwork, and then claim that the artist stole it from them. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, why? What on earth made you think that was a good idea? Plum's coffee creamer with extra cream. Now extra creamy. I know, right? She's gonna be getting some coffee soon in her comic. That's gonna be fun. I do want to show some. I do want to explain some differences between Plum and coffee and jam. I mean, they're not related, but it'll be something that Plum will point out where she's like, Jam's ass is fatter, but coffee has a bit of a pooch belly. And of course, Plum would know this. She's like, my sister's got a fatter ass. But Plum story will be fun. Oh yeah, huh? I technically need to update that because now more characters have appeared since then. But I think I'll just leave it. So that way we'd have her thoughts on everybody except for the Team BLT. Or Team Sandwich, whichever you want to call them. Wear eye protection around Plum. Oh yeah, you'll definitely need something. If she was realistically here, yeah, definitely wear some goggles. I think we're good on that. Next. For tomorrow's stream, I'm thinking of playing a game. I haven't decided which game, but I think I'll make it a gaming day. Or a gaming night. Yeah, it'll either be something like Arc Knights or I don't know, maybe Yu-Gi-Oh! Get my ass kicked in that game. Because I don't play meta. Plum's a trap, so it's a Panton comic for me. I mean, she's still female. She's not a trap. She just wants to have a dick. I suggest Psychonauts. I do not have it. Pretty sure I got a few games I haven't even touched. Like DuckTales. Which would kind of be ironic. I think that should be like a game I should play. I should play DuckTales since I'm using Becky. Fuck it. That'd be funny. Yeah, she can technically shapeshift her genitalia. She just chooses not to. She likes having a dick. Yeah, like all of them could technically do it if they wanted to, but they all have their own preferences. Because originally they weren't in that form, the forms that they have. They had a different form. Which is Rainbow Passion. But yeah, they can technically shapeshift, but it's like not an ability they use very often. I would say Plum and probably Dragon Fruit are the only ones that do it. And I guess technically Lemon Lime, since she's a slime. But yeah, because like Plum's the hyper, Dragon Fruit's the pregnancy harem, Lemon Lime's the man-eating blob, I guess would be the best way to phrase it. Lovely classic DuckTales. I haven't played the DuckTales I have is the one that's the remake from the original Nintendo one. I have not played that version of the game, like the Nintendo one, or the NES one. I have not played that since I was like 4. So me playing that game will be pretty much a new experience. I don't remember. Did I get the Disney set that has like Chip and Dale and Darkwing Duck and all that? If not, I should definitely get that at some point. Yeah, she's basically the Blob. That's why I did that Astacast where she watches the Blob trailer and she just kind of falls in love because she sees a Blob and she's like, oh my god, he's hot. Or it's hot. Cranky Jello Cup. Chin. Save my shit. Do. Next. Oh yeah, decided not to do it that way anymore. I like this, how this turned out so far. Close all detail. So yeah, this is pretty much what Treestar wore when she went to Skylar's party. Move some of this just a little bit to it's not so prevalent on our face. There we go. I'll have to draw Taffy at some point too. Yeah, me too. Like I said, I'll do my best to try to speed things up. Because I definitely don't want to take longer than I have to. Honestly, my methods are probably not the best. I just did whatever to help streamline what I do to make it easier on me. The only time it's hard is when I do comic pages, because that just takes a while. So, if I can, I will try to either tweak the art style for comics, and then keep this art style for like covers or something, and then use another art style for whatever. Like, I'm trying to have multiple styles to swap around with for different situations. That's why Astacasts are usually flat color. So that's why I was practicing with Stacy the other day. I would say it's mahogany. So both red and brown. Hello, Alex. Yeah, I was trying to give her like earthly, leafy colors. Okay, good on this. Yeah, they're not the best. That's why her friends end up helping her with her wardrobe. They're like, oh my god, why are you wearing those? Right. Fix her mouth. Yeah, because her dad's not like a shoe specialist or whatever. He just kind of made them. He's like, oh, here, I made some shoes for you. And she's like, thanks, Dad. And then she puts them on. She's like, Jesus Christ, they hurt. And her friends eventually get her new shoes. I was like, what am I doing? Is that this? Still going. Do. I was like, why does that not look right? That's why. It was not on the right setting. Much better. Almost done. I know. It would be probably better for her to go barefoot, but then she'd just look weirder in front of her friends. Which, again, would aid to them wanting to help her out. And, you know, Tiffany has money because reasons. So, Tiffany is willing to help her out. Well, weird for her to be walking around barefoot. And yeah, bestials do have shoes. There are bestials that wear shoes. Barefoot sandals. Yeah. Do. And then you have to remember she's coming from a Haven school, so it's mostly humans. So her walking around barefoot wouldn't exactly be a common thought for her. And then even though most bestials don't wear shoes, they can wear them to look all nice and fancy. Probably be expensive as fuck to find the right size and shape, depending on the creature. Well, I mean, that's just horseshoes at that point. Her dad was just carving and decided to make shoes. He wasn't thinking about it. He wasn't trying to be all expert about it. He's like, oh, I made some shoes. There you go. And she's just like, thanks, Dad. And then she takes them with a smile, puts them on, and they hurt like hell. Could have been that he gave her shoes just to have some for her normal school or her original school, and didn't think anything of it. And like normally she would walk around barefoot or something. Glam up her nails a little. Okay, next. Madame Blanc is a frog. Yeah, if she was a turtle, I'd make it clear she was a turtle by having a noticeable shell. It's so subtle, but whatever. I'll just look as a 30. Yeah, that's just too dark at that point. Or is it? I don't know. It's one of those. It's one of those coin toss moments where it's like, I'll try going in the middle and be like 20%. Off, on, off, on, off, on. I feel it's still too much, so I'm gonna do 10%. Yeah, that's like just enough. Okay. Alright, now to give her a background. I'm gonna go with the cliche look for a moment. Do-do. And we got that backwards. Yeah, they can do that. They did that a lot in the... Well, I mean, not a lot, but they did that. They definitely did that in the original live-action movies. Sometimes they do that in the cartoons. I have no idea if they do it often in the comics. Probably. It's like very rare. And then they do use their shells to like attack people too. So kind of just depends on the writer, depends on the scenario. Just whatever is relevant, I guess. But yeah, they do use it. It's just very rare. As far as I'm aware, like for all I know, they probably use it more often than I think, but I don't usually see them use it very often. It's possible that it's probably like not very useful depending on the situation. So like maybe if somebody's like trying to shoot them in the head, retracting their head would be extremely useful in that situation. But other than that, I don't know what more they could do. Because like originally Donatello's shell was broken at one point, or at least in one of the comics, because it could have been multiple versions, but I think he had it broken in the IDW version. And so he had to get like an artificial one made. And then apparently they all have a healing factor because Raphael had his face melted at one point, and it took like forever for it to heal back. So he wore like a mask and stuff like that. Kind of want lighter colors maybe involved. Let's try that. Yeah, so like I would say like the shells are fairly tough, but they're not exactly like gonna protect them from like a grenade or something. Well, maybe based on distance, but you know what I mean. Like a rocket launcher is likely not gonna help them very much. I will say like because they're like mutated or whatever, there's probably some more durability to it than I know. So and then comics, so they're probably gonna bullshit their defenses here and there. But They don't usually use it in that way. Sorry for all this flipping through, trying to find the right balance to what I want. Sometimes it's a process. Let's like lighten up on this. That kind of defeats the point. Yeah, this should be okay. This is true. But I'm just saying, like, in their particular case, they fight so many fucking people or gangs and organizations and super creatures that have like laser guns and rocket launchers and God knows what else, that the likelihood of them coming across those things is pretty high compared to a normal teenager or even a normal mutant. And plus, you know, they're all superheroes, so they're gonna have that problem anyway. But yeah, like they've been like even in the what was it? I think it was like the non-canon side movie or short or whatever that they had for what was it, like the 2012 Ninja Turtles or something like that. There was like a situation where I think it was like the Krangs like shot like a mutagen bomb or something like that towards the city, and Leonardo basically tanked it, but like he got so doused in mutation that he just like went fucking berserk and became like a mindless beast for a few years. And I think Donatello didn't make it, but like his consciousness got transferred to a robot that he made. Let's find you a decent background. And then Mikey ended up surviving on his own for a few decades. And then Raphael lost his memory for a while. So yeah, there's like situations where they can get through some pretty ridiculous shit. Oh yeah, that storyline was fucking like dark as hell. Like Raphael was like going through fighting or like fighting like these, like it was kind of like what was the name of that movie? I forget what it's called. You know, with like post-apocalyptic, you have all these people just riding motorcycles everywhere. Can't remember the name of that series, but yeah, it was basically that. And then yeah, Mad Max. There we go. And then Raphael is just kind of driving around aimlessly with Donatello bot, or well, Donatello as a machine, and then all they're really doing is just going aimlessly everywhere and trying to find like water, which luckily Michelangelo found like a shit ton of. And then Michelangelo even knew the location of an oasis because he had like wandered around and stuff like that. So there's that. Leonardo was like, because he had taken that mutagen bomb, he had mutated and became like a giant Hulk, but he like lost all his memories and just went crazy. So he was like in charge of this giant fucking gang and shit like that. So it's like this whole scenario, but like the entire time it's like focused on Raphael, and he's just like broken up that thinking that all of his brothers died. and like all he had left was just a robot version of Donatello. And then in different media, Michelangelo is the one that survives of all the turtles because he becomes the last Ronin, and he becomes like a fucking badass. And it's always been hinted that Michelangelo is like the most powerful of the four if he put in any effort. Because even in like the I think it was the 2012 cartoon, they show like a training session, and you see Leonardo, Donatello, and Raphael fighting against Splinter. And badass or fattass? No, badass. Like, he becomes a badass. But they're fighting Splinter, and Splinter like just beats them all, and and Splinter's trying to explain like they're thinking too much type of thing. So Splinter goes to fight Michelangelo, and Michelangelo is like busy listening to music, and Michelangelo just ends up dodging most of Splinter's attacks. And it's not until Mikey starts paying attention that he actually gets hit. So it's always been like a giant hint that Mikey would be the one to surpass him. And in like the last Ronin, he's like all the brothers have died except for Mikey, and Mikey's walking around with all their weapons. And he has like Leonardo's broken sword and stuff like that. There's like a trailer for like a CG thing that somebody made, and it looks freaking awesome. Like, let me find it real quick. It actually looks really cool. Yeah, exactly. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Oh yeah, they're coming out with the game for it too. So here you go. I think the game is the trailer that I'm thinking. But yeah, Mikey becoming a badass is always, well, more of a badass than he already was, has always been interesting, because it's like, what would Mikey do if he lost everything type of scenario. And they've kind of played on that in like the other versions of Ninja Turtles cartoons, where sometimes it's Mikey, sometimes it's some other character, or some other brothers like Donnie or someone. And they just play around with it. Sometimes none of them die, they just all become like older or cybernetic or whatever. It just depends on the writing. But it's always been fun to see what these characters would do in those kind of scenarios. It's like, okay, what if the fucking apocalypse happened? What do we do? And then there's been times where, like, there's like one storyline where Raphael becomes Shredder. There's times where any of them become evil. Then you have like the side turtle characters. So you have like Jenica / Venus. And Venus recently, she's basically a stitched up corpse of like turtles and frogs and stuff like that, along with like mystical dragon powers or dragon jewel powers, whatever the fuck that thing is. So she's like a walking zombie, but she's like mystical. So yeah, you got like scenarios like that going on. Which honestly, like, I bought some of those comics because I thought the whole Venus being a zombie or being like a stitched up corpse was interesting. But then, like, instead of making it so that she learned her identity and stuff like that, of like who she is or what she is and stuff like that, they kind of just instantly gave her knowledge, like, immediately when she meets Donatello. And I'm just like, no, you had it. You had a good setup, and then you fucked it. she just like automatically knows what to do and shit like that, and it just totally takes away from the experience. It was like perfect right up until that point, and I was just like, fuck. And like she like immediately gets told of like some of the body parts or whatever that was used to make her and stuff like that. Like they didn't even try to keep it a mystery from her or anything like that. So it was just one of those things where it's like, man, it's like a good idea but a bad writer. And granted, I'm not perfect or anything, but it's like, I don't know. To me, that sounded, it's always more interesting to see a character grow than to be immediately given information that they otherwise wouldn't know. I guess this is fine. Should I lower it a bit? Yeah, that's fine. Probably give her like a bit of an outer glow. Because it would be like if I made Marcy and then she finds out Skylar is into, you know, bigger women, and instead of us watching her mold into that situation, mold into a bigger woman, I just make it happen like almost immediately. Kind of, it's almost like the Tiffany scenario, but worse. Yeah, you know what? I think some green would, because green was being used, but it obviously got drowned out. So yeah, I'll do that in a moment. Let me just tweak this for a moment. But yeah, like that's how I am with when it comes to certain stories and stuff like that. I like the build up rather than a character just gaining information for practically no effort or getting whatever experience. So how do I want to go about this? First, let's try out this method. I should use the eraser tool more often because that might help. And this would be a good situation to try. Okay, so how do I want to go about this? Let me try it this way. Yeah, like maybe on the weird one. Maybe stories are better if you just automatically give characters the main gimmick. I don't know. Like I said, it's probably a me thing. There we go, that looks a little better. Remove that because I don't need that anymore. Probably make the bottom a little darker. This might be a scenario where I have to do it by hand. Let's see what the other patterns give me. Ooh, I kind of like this hue. Change it a little bit. Maybe lessen that a little bit more. Almost forgot I was doing this. Let's do that. Do. Bump this down to like 70. How does this look? Should it be even more green, or should I just leave it at this? Yeah, I'm gonna have to grab that later. Cool. Just label it and then move on to something else. Oh wow, got that right. Alright, so she's done. Save. Thank you. Like, I know her stance is pretty basic, but it's like, eh. It's not like she'd be trying to make herself look cute or anything. Yeah, I like having the light around her head. And so if I make her into a card in the future, she'll likely have something to do with plants or something like that. Plant cards. So let me just save out her different versions. Oh yeah, is this done yet? Still going. Turn this off. Save this out. Yeah, she likes naturey things, so she'd probably think those are cute. You know, it'd be cute if like Barry goes and visits her place, and assuming he sees her room, he sees like a teddy bear, and she like gets a little bit embarrassed because he might think that it's like, oh, she likes bears, or well, obviously at that point, but still, it's like, oh, so her liking bears wasn't just like a sudden thing or like only happened because of Barry specifically, but it's like just pointing out that she's chill with bears, or like she thinks bears are cute in general. So works out for him. Especially once they start cuddling together, so it's like, oh, it's a big old teddy bear. There we go. I was like, where are you? Alright, so save this out. There we go. Turn these back on. Save. I think I'll work on something for like the next half an hour and then call it for the night. So let me go grab this because I think this is an interesting question to answer. And in the meantime, let me go get the setup. Ask. I'll have to grab Georgia Doff's dialogue box later. Kind of similar to that. For now, I'll just grab this one. But let me go find the question that I want to answer. Questions. Okay, so here's the question. It's technically to Marcy, but it'll be more aimed at Skylar. Hold on, let me check something. Where is it? Whose question was this? Because I try not to repeat users, but I really like this question. So if I do get a repeat, this might be the exception. No? Okay, we're fine. Yeah. And it is by this person, so I don't have to change that name. Oh, shit. Just realized what I was doing. Let's not change this dialogue, because that's not what I'm trying to do here. Copy. Yeah. Because there'll be rev'kah going like, oh yeah, right, like I allowed these tainted dragons to live longer than necessary. It's like they should be blessed that they even exist. There we go. Okay, so I can close this now. So let me move things over to kind of make it smaller. Big old. Marcy, aren't you going over that you're going to go over for Skylar? So yeah, so I'm going to keep the original question because this would imply that Skylar is like, you know, is like a normal dragon, which gotta remember pretty much everything that you think about in terms of supernatural shit or whatever is completely twisted and turned into whatever it is I want it to be. So like standard werewolves, vampires, ghosts, whatever, they're not gonna follow the general rules that people know them by. For example, Chewy Chewy has wings and a tail, and that's mostly because originally she wasn't going to be a vampire. She was supposed to be a daughter of a dragon queen and a rabbit king, but like her kingdom like succumbs to like some kind of psychotic madness type of thing, and whatever else storyline that was going to be. And then eventually I just turned her into a vampire and just made like a whole vampire thing going. But I kept her design the way it was because I didn't want to change it. And the same thing goes for like Natalie's vampire form, how it also has a tail. So it's like more succubusy than vampire, but whatever. I just like it, so didn't want to change it. Yeah, that's basically what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have fucking giant rev'kah just glaring down at them, going like, "Oh, you." It's like, "Oh, you'll die small. You'll die very early in your pitiful lives," or whatever dialogue I'm gonna give him. Like he is already annoyed. I'll have to fix that. He's already annoyed of just bestial dragons. It's like, nope, Skylar's bitch ass ages normally just like everyone else. I'll say Ferricane dragons probably have a better age range than normal, and then it'd be like the feral dragons that have like a much longer lifespan. And those are the ones that came from rev'kah, because like rev'kah has like two dragons that he initially made. He had the feral ones that he liked to just do whatever with because they were just mindless beasts and stuff like that. But then he kind of got bored and wanted to have actual conversations, so he gave them intelligence, and that's how they became the Ferricane versions. So that's how that worked. And then, but then that's when the Ferricane ones decided to venture out, and eventually some of them either evolved into the bestials or, you know, they mingled with bestials, and that's how you get that in a gene pool type of thing. So, whatever. Whatever I have to say in order to make that make sense. And I'm going to need reference of rev'kah because I have not made a bio for him yet, and the closest thing we have is this thing. Because I've only drawn him once. Which eventually I'm going to have to draw him because he definitely is going to have a card. Along with the other 4 dragons, because he's one of the 5. Save you as number 101 or 102. Because rev'kah is like, I don't like, fuck these these impure dragons. He's like, you call these dragons? Now, do I feel like drawing a good portion of him, or do I want to just draw his head? I kind of want to just draw his head, but I'll make it classy. He just towers over them. And remember, Yorjadov does mention rev'kah briefly when she's yammering to Kiwi. Yeah, like some of the dragons still worship him, as they should. But the ones who left the island and became part of the world itself, some would still bring up his teachings, but then some information probably gets tainted over time, where it's like yeah, he was kind of a tyrant. So he probably like phased out over time. So characters like Skylar don't even know, or people like Skylar don't even know he exists. Because again, he's like supposed to be a god, and most of the gods in their world don't exactly show themselves very often. So it's all hearsay. Yeah. So like anything that's like more directly connected to him, they should be worshipping his ass. And then you gotta take into account that he manipulates their growth. Because after the smart one, or the one after he gave some of them intelligence and then he left, he decided to keep things in check. So he kind of lowered their the later one's intelligence so he could do whatever he wanted with them and stay in power. Because unfortunately, he's trapped on an island because of trying to be an asshole in the celestial world. He's like, "Oh yeah, I can take over," and Viro's like, "Yeah, good luck with that." And then Yvonne had to get involved, and that's a whole other scenario. But most of the other Celestials could take him, so it wasn't like a one-sided fight necessarily. Unless it was just straight up Viro, then yes, it would be a one-sided fight. Shrink this down a little bit more, because Viro is literally built to kill gods for this exact reason. But instead of killing him, they just trapped him on an island and flew him into another dimension. But luckily, there are ways off the island into other timelines and stuff like that. So that's why dragons are both like mythical creatures, but also just like common shit. So yeah, if like later dragon characters try to boast as like, oh yes, I'm gonna be king of the dragons or whatever bullshit, that's like rev'kah yawning as a response. And that's like the closest of him like noticing someone's trying to wear the big pants in that situation. He's like, huh? What? And if somehow they do make it further down the line, then he's gonna have to actually, you know, blink. And whatever happens to them, happens to them. Assuming he can even affect anything from where he is. Maybe at some point they get sent to him, and then he's the one that either outright kills them or turns them into his bitch. Yeah, like obviously there's gonna be like dragons that went against each other and stuff like that at some point in time until, you know, later versions of like the dragons like the bestials and all that became more domesticated and common. So yeah, there's likely a dragon war at some point. Or maybe not a war, but like a big enough battle where it mattered. And the question is, how am I going to angle your horns? Just have to go with it. It's like, our dragon god exists, here are his teachings, and blah 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 blah. And they're all like, he was a tyrant. Like, he's no god. He just had power or whatever. And then the rest of the world is like, what the fuck is happening over here? Because they already had to deal with, like, if I had to think of all the events the planet has to actually deal with, it's like amazing that they even survive. Because like you have the whole like humans attempting to kill gods situation, you have the dragons, you have artificial intelligence, aliens, bestials, Ferakines, I guess humans technically, so the Havens. The original situation with the initial god that reset everything. Then you have, I don't know, I'm pretty sure there's something else on. Oh yeah, you have the fucking Gadians and Avixes. You have whatever the Eternals are doing. Yeah, basically. It's basically what he did to the ones that were leaving. Like, after a good chunk of them left, he just killed the remainder and then reset everything on his island. So that way, none of them would leave. He made them just dumb enough where they wouldn't consider it. And dependent on him too. Where it's like, oh no, we're going hungry, which is because he's purposely causing famine and scarcity of food and stuff like that, so he makes it so that they have to go to him for help, and when he does help them, they praise him. So he's just making up his own achievements. He's literally like a dungeon master who's pissed off that the players want to do something else, and so he just changes the rules. And if there's like any scenario where his people don't need him, he just kind of does something to fuck with it. He probably even conjures like beasts or whatever to attack his own people, just so they go to him for help. He'd be like, "Oh, you told me you didn't need my help," and they're like, "We're sorry, we were wrong." And then he finally goes like, "All right," as he grins, knowing what he's done. So yeah, he's definitely not a good god, not a good celestial. Yeah, because he's basically trapped on an island, which is his own domain, and he can't leave it. So, like, to him, Skylar is basically like a bastard. And he has practically no care towards those dragons, or any of the dragons that left his island. Even the ones that praise him that managed to leave, he doesn't care about. He's like, "Oh, you praise me, but you're not here. You don't want my blessings." Air quotes blessings. So, if for whatever reason he somehow leaves his prison, he's probably going to cause a lot of problems. So hopefully, either he or some dumbass who thinks they can go into other dimensions and start doing shit, don't unleash him. It's like, "Oh, I found it. There's like this dimension with an island on it." And everyone, and like any dragon who's like knowledgeable of this scenario, who's like, "No." It's like, don't release him. Yeah, and so like he couldn't like technically get rid of the dragons that left because that's out of his power at that point. But the ones who were still trying to leave, that's when he did his thing and like just trapped them all, wiped them out, started over, made sure they never got as smart anymore, and then just plays with them like toys. And when he gets bored, he either lets them die, kills them himself, makes whatever scenario to justify it, and then does it all over again. Sometimes he has a harem, sometimes he just wants to be left alone. Kind of whatever his mood is. And then like maybe occasionally other celestials come and visit him just to see what the fuck or how the fuck he's doing. And you know, he'll probably bitch at them. He's like, "Oh, I'm fine, you know, just staying here for eternity." Or maybe he actually has like a sentence, like he has like an actual amount of time that he's trapped in his dimension until he's allowed to leave again. Which is even more terrifying if he does have a set time. It's like, "Oh, you're only here for a few billion years. That's not that bad." And he'll just glare at you going like, the fuck you mean? It's like, that's still a billion years, I don't want to be here. But he makes do, given his situation. I kind of don't like it that way. Let's just do it this way. And he's the one that's all glammed up with jewelry. Which he purposely creates treasures on his island for his people to find in order to offer to him as tribute. So he basically creates a scavenger hunt for his own people to constantly find over and over again. And I'll say like the other 4 dragons that did manage to leave the island, they were the ones that became like more higher up in the chain. So though he detests them for leaving, he still acknowledges that they're what's the best way of phrasing it? He acknowledges how independent they become. And like a good representation of his doing. It's like, yeah, they left me, but they basically have their own domain. If he were to ever meet them, he would probably try to take a spot. It's like, oh, you guys created your own government? Alright, I'm immediately getting a seat. Yeah, it's like you're the strongest children that came from my loins. You're welcome. And I don't know, maybe one of them actually still converses with him. Just so he's like not completely isolated. And that could be like the one that betrays them or some shit and lets him out. I don't know. That does sound fun. So yeah, maybe that'll be the case. Where it's like they all left it to find independence, but then one of them, you know, still sucks on that dick. And probably that's how he even came up in power, was because he still converses with rev'kah, so rev'kah, like, if he can, will influence whatever fortune or something. Or gives advice to lead that dragon into a higher position. Yes, they still exist. They're not extinct. They just have their own region. Because the world still has like other weapons and shit, so dragons kind of don't want to fuck with that. They're like, all right, we'll play ball. They just have to be in specific areas because some of them are a bit too big. And that's why there's like giant towns and stuff like that, because giants exist. Trying to have like a cap on how big creatures actually are. So that way different areas make sense. Being led by Fat Doggo, help. Sorry, it's too late. Can't do it. You've been chosen. I wonder what if like in a realistic scenario of rev'kah meeting Skylar, and then he sees what Skylar picked as a mate. It's like on one end he'll probably like scold Skylar for not picking a dragon, but then on the other end he's like, well, at least you got your taste in size. As he sees how big Marcy is. And maybe that's like a thing. Maybe rev'kah is the reason why male dragons like their women thick. Just like a secret desire that just kind of carried over to his other offspring and descendants. Like, just sees Fat Marcy and he's just like, that's my boy. Right? He's like, damn, she's a huge bitch. But then you see like his island and you see some of the female dragons just with just gigantic asses. Because at some point rev'kah was just like into that. He's like, you know what? I want a female dragon with the fattest ass. And that could go so many multiple ways of whether he just like created one out of thin air or he just like took his time and groomed one to get to that size. Or even like manipulated them mentally to do it. Like, he has so many choices. He keeps flopping on me. He wants your love. Why you deny love? Says Becky, I, in Avatar Becky form, discussing love. As I talk about a dragon who basically controls other dragons to do his bidding. Can see rev'kah looking the majority of his dragons into like thicker females, and he's just like, did I do that? But then of course there's still like skinnier ones and stuff like that, so it's not like a universal thing. Okay, how am I gonna do your backhorn spike thingies? I give him love, but he's squeezing the air out of me with his fat ass. Well, if he was a deer, would you stop him? Big booty deer sitting on you. Alright, I'm gonna call it for now. But I'll keep going with this. Now that's not fair using my bias against me. I mean, how do you think we get here? We use our biases to make things interesting. It's like if I wanted to, rev'kah could take on evil Marcy here. He'd be like, it's not the best situation, but I'll take it. But anyway, thank you all for coming. I will stream again tomorrow at night, so 9 p.m. Pacific time. And I'll likely play a game. If I'm not in the mood for a game, then I'll just draw like I normally do. But I'll try to have gaming in the idea. Yeah, poke me more about dragon. Shit, I need to write this shit down. I need to just make a giant fucking dragon lore thing. So yeah, maybe in the future I'll just fucking do it because have some stuff I can use. But yeah, you guys take care. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night, and I will make Black Circus and iHack comic pages and other stuff whenever possible or during the weekend and blah 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 blah. Okay. Anyway, see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.